Time to call the commission meeting to order. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to invite everyone here this morning. Thank you for coming. We begin our meetings with the pledge to the flag, followed by a moment of silence. Hope you all can stand. Ask Commissioner Balch if you will lead us in the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Gentlemen, you've had a chance to read the minutes. Entertain a motion to accept them. Motion made and seconded. Any questions? All those in favor, raise your right hand. There's not a seat back there. Poor guy.
Well, he likes to suffer.
Need to stand up there.
Okay, all right. Well, again, welcome everyone to our meeting this morning. We have a pretty full agenda today, so we'll get started with them. Sorry for running just a little bit late, and a few personnel issues to take care of this morning. Carrie Barwick.
Yes,
Good morning.
good morning. I was here in June, I don't know if you recall, but here with Rico USA. This is Megan Bambus, she's my solutions consultant. And we were going to do a print analysis for the county and a workflow analysis for the county to see if you guys switching to us as your primary vendor for office equipment under the state of Indiana qualified purchasing agreement, what savings you would realize by doing that. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to do this workflow analysis and meet with your elected officials here in Washington County. There's some really fine people that I've gotten to know over this 3 months. What I did was I took a first analysis on July 10th, and I came back August 9th and took my second analysis to kind of get an idea of how much volume you had going through as far as paper going through the county in a month. And I looked at the health department, all of the offices in this building, all of the offices in the Justice Building, and the courthouse. And I know there's some other buildings that are outlined that I did not hit, but I got the three main ones. And of the offices in these three buildings, you guys are generating right now about 69,000 sheets of paper a month. So that, using those figures, right now your current spend is around $34,000 a month, or a year, for copying. Under the State of Indiana QPA program, I've set it out in 4 stages. Stage 1, it would be pretty much replacing the equipment as it needs to be replaced, not a full replacing of anything. I would work with the elected officials in a case-by-case situation to make sure that anytime we went in to replace something, that it would be a cost savings in that area. So every replacement with the QPA would be a cost savings. If it's not going to be a cost savings, if they're in current lease, it would have to wait till like the end of the lease. That's why we did the stages, the 4 stages. Starting in 2013, you would see about $3,200 worth of savings. And all of these estimates are conservative estimate because, like I said, I just did the 3 buildings, and I did a snapshot of 1 month. So I'm estimating about $3,200 savings for 2013 over the 2012 rate. And then as you move on, as the leases come up, we would be replacing them. Right now, your average lease, you're paying $0.015 a copy for your maintenance or your service copies. Under our program, you'd be paying about 0.5 cents a copy. By 2016, I'm estimating that we can save you around $12,000 from what you're currently paying. And that $12,000 is a conservative estimate, and it would be going forward from that point on. So in a lot of cases where you have, inflation and things, you expect things to go up, by going to this program, your costs will actually go down and it'll stay down from what you're currently paying. And in doing this analysis, of course, and talking to elected officials, I've been talking to Judge Medlock. We have a trial going in with him in December to replace one of his copies. We also started to discuss workflow and document storage and management. And he asked me to get some numbers together for any kind of backup or disaster recovery solutions for documents. And in doing that assessment, I brought Megan in. She is my specialist on document workflow and storage, and I was going to let her kind of go over her findings.
So on page 4, we walked through the courthouse. So we went on the 2 floors and then the attic, as well as we went across the street to Christie's Restaurant in the annex. Within the courthouse, there was an average of 300 filing cabinet drawers, close to that, about 306. So most of those were in the attic. Those are about 1 million pages of documents up there. Those documents are all closed documents, but they are retrieved quite often, at least maybe once or twice a day, by at least 4 people. And then in the courthouse itself, there's about 20 filing cabinets, about 80 pages, and those are open cases, juvenile and civil records. And then at Christie's, there was about 350 bankers boxes, and that averages 4,000 sheets a box. And so that's about 1.4 million. They're all closed. A lot of them, some of those are 50s, 60s records that they weren't sure where they were, so a lot of them were down there. But they still go and pull those records as well. So we took some pictures down there at the bottom that you can see as well. So basically what I did is kind of did a little bit of an ROI with a snapshot that I saw. So if you take just a basic figure of a burden with a burden rate of the average employee that's getting those files, base that on the monthly cost to file a document, so that's based on $1,500 a month, and it takes about 2 minutes to file, based on the figure of monthly cost for storing old files, so that's drawers and square footage. The cost to retrieve the document, so that's based on 5 people, and the average time to retrieve the document, especially in that area where the attic is, takes some time, and it's kind of scary going up and down those steps because we went up there. And then based on the cost to find or if you have a misfiled or mislabeled document, so that's average of two a month, and the time to find those. Cost to fax, if any faxing is done, 5 faxes a day, just on average, and the time it takes to do a fax, as well as the figure of courier costs if you are doing any kind of UPS to send any documents to the other areas, or mail costs. So basically what I got from your all's documents is about $5,503 a month in the workflow of a document. So just things to look at in consideration to kind of take it a step to get some of those documents into an electronic format is security. HIPAA requires all documents and personal information to be compliant. So that means that those documents should not be accessed to the public or have easy access to the public or any employee that doesn't have permission for those documents. And then we just wanted to look at disaster. Disaster's kind of harder to put a figure on, but it does happen. So we kind of gave you 2 examples of the Henryville, the high school, and then the Jefferson County Courthouse. And that right there is, if you see that picture, that's kind of where a lot of those documents are up in the attic for you guys in the courthouse. So I gave an example of the city of Terre Haute that we just did recently with some document management. We did document software for their storage. We also did some capture from the scanning piece to get those documents in, and then they also took it a step farther and created some electronic forms as well, so that that people can actually do electronic, so you're kind of taking away some of the paper pieces. But that's what we did there, and that was something that we would like your all's permission to kind of pursue further. We just really looked at the courthouse and Christie's, but maybe being able to do kind of the same thing we did on her piece with the printing to kind of expand.
What we're hoping to do is, if we can become the primary vendor for copiers and printers and make that one vendor. I know I talked to Shauna at the auditor's office, and right now she has a mess on her hands. She has multiple vendors with different due dates for everything. Stuff comes in, and a lot of times if it's not faxed to her or sent over immediately, you guys miss your the pay-by date, so late fees are assessed. Because these companies don't normally work with government entities, and we do, they're charging property tax and insurance on your devices that are leased to you. That's normally between $50 and $60 a device per year. Right now you have, I believe, 7 current leases that you're getting taxed on annually. The insurance is usually about $24 biannually, semi-annually. So that is being assessed on each one of these leased devices as well. Then you have your late fees, and that's usually $20 to $30 in late fees if it's, if it gets past the 10-day window to pay it. Because most of these companies, you receive the invoice, you have a 10-day window to pay that invoice, or they assess a $20 late fee. With the state of Indiana agreement, we cannot assess late fees. We do not assess property taxes. We do not charge you insurance. We There is no early termination fees of any kind. When we negotiated this contract with the state of Indiana, and that was part of their RFP process, they said, we want you to be able to hit all of these marks. We were the only company that was able to hit all those marks and agreed to that. We work with federal government, we work with state government.
Were you with Terre Haute all through 2011?
Was I,
Did you
sorry?
work with the city of Terre Haute all
I
through
did not
2000?
work with, that was
I mean,
in
your company?
our company did.
How much did you save them, would you say approximately in
You know that
2000?
figure.
I think it was $5,000 a month. It was quite a bit.
She said it was over $5,000 a month.
And what was your company's charges for that amount? What
For the-
percent do you charge
For the total solution,
for the 60,000? What did your company get in return?
Is that after they pay you? That's what they say.
Right.
right. I can get that information for you.
I mean, what percent do you usually charge? Do you charge percent or
No, they,
just a flat fee?
it's a flat fee.
Flat fee?
Mhm.
On this information, I'm taking all this data that's in the, or all these files. What are you proposing there? Did you actually scan these things? and-
Well, we offer a number of different services. What we're proposing there is we would like to work with, have you guys help us encourage the elected officials, let's look at a solution to protect the documents that you have. And I don't know, we're very new into it, we don't know how you guys would fund this, but we wanna work with you to kind of co-author a solution that makes sense for you all. Either the departments could help fund it together, maybe out of savings, out of grants. A lot of county governments that we have used, or that we have worked with in the past have used grants in some form or another for different projects. So, you know, there's a lot of ways that we need to look at funding it. But it would be, as far as pricing, we haven't even approached price yet. That's something that we want to look into, but we need a little bit of help from you all to have the county officials to look at this.
Terre Haute microfilm?
Some of it might have been microfilm, but anything that we were doing was just paper-based, that we were putting into an electronic format. And then anything that might have been paper that we created electronic forms for.
I think our recorder's office already microfilm, okay, in the process of microfilm.
They have been, the recorder's office has had off-site storage for years. Let me summarize and see if I understand correctly. We have two broad-based concepts here. One is document storage, one is document copying. Document copying is
That seems to be
basically,
the first stage.
That's the first
Yes, yeah.
the document copying is, I was kind of, while you were talking, I was kind of trying to figure out where you were and flipping through it. So, but you're talking about the difference between a cent and a half a page and a half a cent a page concept. Which makes sense. A lot of the things, or what the savings, like you're talking about retrieval fees, it's hard whenever you're calculating fixed overhead and allocating that to a variable activity.
Mhm.
It's hard to translate into that actual savings because we're not gonna reduce our employees' hours based on that. And also, it's a necessary thing. When we have current open files, we're still gonna be, most of the time, our courthouse employees are retrieving current open files that aren't scanned or whatever. So, and that's really on the second issue, I think, document retrieval and storage. We were hit up in the last year a couple times by a gentleman, a local gentleman, who worked for a Louisville company about, this company's been doing this for some time, taking all of our closed files and our old records, scanning them, storing them off-site in a secure location, and having them readily accessible via a electronic transmission or original hard copy within 24 hours. And that, I think a couple or 3 pitches were made, and ultimately everyone was kind of reluctant to do that. And they had a system that seemed to be fairly efficient, as good as it could get. I'm not aware of any improvements that would be made on that, but ultimately I think there's an issue of when someone makes an Access to Public Records Act request, how quickly can you get that? How well can you even review the documents to see, is there something responsive? So I think there's some issues, and I think the employees were just nervous about the idea of not having access to the
Right.
records, immediate access. So those are 2 different issues, and I would recommend that the commissioners consider looking at these leases. I mean, these are things that, like the idea that we're paying a property tax,
Right.
personal property tax or equipment is something that, is apparently someone's worked into a lease and you don't even realize it. I mean, these things need to be ironed out, and I think it probably makes a lot of sense for us to do that.
Right, and the leases, that, to me, if you use the term no-brainer, that's a no-brainer. It's obviously gonna save you some money as you, over time. So of course, I would love to get on, you guys to get on board with going with our company to be one vendor. I know Shauna at the auditor's office would love that as well, because we can set it up where, everything is paid on a certain date. All the leases are paid on a certain date, so that she knows exactly when, dealing with one vendor it's just gonna make her.
Is there a difference in quality of machinery and speed and things like that?
You're actually gonna get a better quality machine, because right now, to get the price as low as the county government needs it, a lot of times you're getting reconditioned equipment. This is all brand new equipment. This is all brand new, top of the line equipment. Some of the stuff that I've looked at, we can actually put color in some of the areas that might need a color, color devices. They're using HP color printers right now. We can replace it with one of our color devices, and it will save you a significant amount of money over buying color toner.
Are ours consistent throughout the courthouse? Because the ones that I've used seem a little slow.
There's no consistency. I mean, it's different vendors. We do have Panasonic, you may have CopyStar in another area. You may have a Ricoh device, I think, up in the upstairs, Xerox, and there's no consistency, and they're kind of at the bottom rung of copier equipment, because they have to get it in, at the least amount of money. So what I'm proposing is you're gonna get a better quality of copier for less money. The copier that's going in at Judge Medlock's in December is a 40-page per minute black and white. And it's gonna be replacing a 30-page per minute black and white for less money.
And have you acquired copies of our leases? Are there notice requirements, automatic renewals?
Yes, there is. Yes, there is. Usually there's right at 90 days and 180 days is the notice requirements. They have funny little things in there like that. So you have to get in that window between 90 days and 180 days. It can't be any less or any more.
And you're talking about replacing machines as they wear.
As
As
they're
they're
released.
If we need new machines, then you just bring in one of yours.
Right,
I
right.
mean,
A
it's
lot of it,
not anything real major to where you just strip one building out and put them all in
no,
at the same
absolutely
time,
not.
right?
That doesn't make sense, because you have supplies on hand that you purchase for your printers and copiers. We need to use that up. You guys need to utilize that money that you've already spent. So it will be as needed basis as far as that.
And you've been through the government building, the jail, and the courthouse.
Yes,
You
and,
still got the county highway department?
right,
Okay.
right. I didn't have emergency management. I don't know where that is, but I just went
At
through.
the highway department.
that's the only thing that makes sense. You need the least expensive option. Right now, I'm offering the least expensive option. If somebody else wants to come in, they have to beat my bid.
Is there, have you actually looked at these leases and you know when they're up and things like that?
I have copies of the terms and conditions of the lease. I do have copies of the leases. And as we look into replacing, and I sit down with each elected official and actually talk to them about replacing the equipment, if I, have your go-ahead to start saving you guys some money. We will, I have the contract end dates right now for the 6 leases, Delaney Park, Superior Court, the Circuit Court. I did not get copies of Health Department or Public Defender. I know the Treasurer's Office, they purchased their copier. The Auditor's Office has purchased their copier. The Assessor's Office, they're all purchased equipment. So those are cases where we would have to look at what they're currently paying for their supplies and for their service, and see what the life is left on that machine typically, and come up with a game plan to replace that equipment, as they use the supplies that they've already purchased, or at the end of a service contract.
Where's your company located?
My company is located out of Louisville, Kentucky. We have offices in Indianapolis, we have offices in Evansville. Rico is a manufacturer of the equipment. We are in all 50 states.
You have maintenance people working for you?
We do.
And what's the response time when something needs to be done?
Less than 4 hours. Less than 4 hours response.
So is there anybody around here that you?
USDA, BMV, GKN.
Okay.
Any state government office that you have around here, Ivy Tech.
You say you have GKN Center Metals?
We do. Any federal government office that maybe be in the area? National Guard.
Are you all the largest that does this? You've got the federal government.
Yeah, we are pretty much the largest player in this area. Because we do have the state government, we have the federal government. I'm not gonna say we're bigger than Xerox, but it's pretty close. We have a 25% market share of all the copiers that are out there, our Rico copiers, either through us or through our dealers.
So if you began immediately, we wouldn't actually see an annual savings until 2017, is that what this says?
No, you would see, the first year you'd see a 10% savings
In 2013.
in 2013, because there's things that need to be done now to save you money.
There is some things that you have,
But as
you
far
can
as
do
being,
now.
right, but as far as being for 2014 and 2015, you would see some savings, but as far as significant, I can't promise you that it's gonna be significant savings till 2016, because that's when the end of a lot of the leases come up.
Okay, so you base this on the annual savings of 2017 because of the leases that you've
Yes,
examined?
the last
right
lease,
now? Okay.
the last lease expires, I believe, in 2017.
Okay.
How long have you been with GKN Center Metals?
That company has been with us probably 4 or 5 years.
And who's the contact person out there?
Dave,
Cook,
last name. He's the IT person.
Dave Cook, is it?
No, Dave Peterson.
Dave Peterson?
Mhm.
You in schools too?
Greater Park County is our biggest school district that we work with. We have 85 machines there for the Greater Park County schools, and they use the state of Indiana contract.
contract that you're proposing us is basically the same as what you offer the state of Indiana?
Yes, it's exactly the
And the
same.
federal government?
Yes. I'm not sure about the federal government, I don't have a copy of that, but
Okay.
it's the same, the exact same contract as the state of Indiana has. And I believe you can go on to the state of Indiana website, and it'll say that there was a 40, over the time that they have worked with us, they have seen a 40% reduction in their cost for the printing.
Any other questions?
I just make a comment, I mean, I think we need to do, whether it's with them or someone else, we need to streamline all this all into one. You've got all these different contracts going out to different vendors, and, it just makes sense. It would have to save money.
That's the biggest plus I see about the whole thing.
Okay.
I don't know anything about regular copiers.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever used Ryko, but, copying is critical.
Yes.
It's critical in government. And we've got to have them. Response time is very impressive, 4 hours,
Yes.
is it? You're talking people coming out of Louisville, I take it,
I think our nearest technician lives around Georgetown.
Georgetown?
Yeah, so he's, I think he just lives north of Georgetown, Indiana. So
But
he's less than an hour from me.
it looks to me like, with the response time, with the consolidation of all that we have, the paper will be purchased through you two?
No, that would just include your supplies, your toner and your staples.
Okay.
Paper you would still purchase. I would recommend that you guys purchase that as, instead of individual offices purchasing, using one purchasing manager. Because a lot of times if you go with Expedex out of Indianapolis, you can save quite a bit of money by doing a larger volume, purchasing a larger volume.
You know of any counties that kind of merge together and buy a large volume of something like paper to save them money, or, that much savings?
I work with Rick Lovin over at the city of Jeffersonville, and he has been working to save them some money. He works in the mayor's office. He's like assistant to the mayor. And they do all of their supply and paper through a centralized purchasing process, and he said that they started to see some real savings by doing it that way. I know that Shauna has also worked with the state of Indiana. There's a QPA process for office supplies. We have put in a bid for that RFP. I'm not sure where we are in that process, but I know that right now, the state of Indiana has an RFP process for just office supplies, your pencil, pens, typewriter ribbon, whatever you might need. And when that bidding process is over, whether it be us or another company, I'll be more than happy to share that information with Shauna so that she can contact whoever wins that bid.
Okay, now the bottom line. Okay. We've seen good response time, we've seen an annual savings of paper, we've seen a lot of good things here. Now, what's it gonna cost us monthly to do this?
Well, each
We're gonna
situation,
sign a contract with you, right? We're gonna
right.
Okay.
And how
We
that
sign
would
a
work.
contract with you, what type of money are we looking at to pay you? What are you making on this?
What am I making on this?
What are we paying the company?
The percentage that you pay over our manufacturing costs is very little. This is a reduction of about 30% over what we get commercially. So each contract, what we will do is anytime that I go in and meet with an elected official, I will look at what they're currently spending. I will ask them for any bill that they might have to buy printer cartridges, what they're paying for at least what they originally paid for the copier, and give them a total cost analysis of my solution versus what they have currently. And I promise you, you're gonna see a savings each and every time.
Okay.
Each and every time that we come before you, you will see a savings. You know, a lot of this information that I have, I think you will actually save more. I didn't get all the information that I needed to show you an actual full savings.
But when we sign a contract normally, there's a monthly claim turned into us as commissioners to sign.
Right.
Okay, that's what I need to know. What's your monthly claim that you're gonna sign for this? That
Typically,
we're gonna sign?
okay, so the county, or the circuit court for the county, the piece of equipment that I have put out there, the lease on it is $85 a month for 60 months.
I'm seeing it online, right? For the devices.
It may be,
Contract's available.
yeah, it may be online.
So it's just the
It's straight from
fee's
that
gonna be the
contract.
contract on each piece of
Right.
equipment, right?
Right, and the lease will be $85. The
That's-
charges
That's what I
will
was
be.
wanting. I wanna know what it's gonna cost us.
Right,
You know, every time you put in a machine, if you put in a
Right.
machine at the auditor's office, it's gonna cost us $85 a month. Now, at the end of that month, we may have saved more than $85, I'm hoping. Well, according to what you said, we should be.
right. It
No, if
depends.
we're currently paying 100 and we pay 85, we're gonna save 15,
Right,
but we'll be not paying 100.
What I'm talking about though is when you, at a half a cent a copy versus a cent and a half, you're gonna save money.
right, right.
So you're
And a lot of,
saving 15 on the lease, but you should be saving money monthly on the operation of that machine,
absolutely, because
right?
a lot of them have built into the lease right now 5,000 copies. 5,000 copies a month, $203 a month for the lease.
Okay.
5,000 copies are included. If that office does not use the 5,000 copies, they still get paid, or that get billed for that 5,000 copies, because it's rolled into the lease. How ours will work is it will be, for the same black and white machine, it'll be $85 a month, and instead of paying for 5,000 copies, you only pay a half a cent for the copies that you use. So if you use 4,000 copies, you pay 20 bucks.
So this is $85 for each office.
That's depending, if you go with the 4,002, it will be $85. If an office needs color, you're probably looking at $145.
Okay,
This is just black and white.
That's just black and white.
so say in my office, I don't need a new copier yet
Mhm.
or anything. So actually then all I'm paying for with a lease or whatever I'm
You're
paying
paying
for
for
is just for toner or,
Right,
and that.
right. And so like your office, what I would need to do is I need to see how much you're paying for your toner. If you're paying for any service calls, you know, just kind of pull those bills that you're getting for just your office and do an analysis to see how much you're paying now. And, you know, and you may not need a 40-page machine. You may only need a 33-page per minute machine.
But then tomorrow my copier machine breaks down and I need a new one.
Mhm.
So then I would get it from you and then I'd be charged the $85 a month.
Right,
How much are the service costs?
the service costs,
That is, so
That's
it's not just a set,
that's part of
That-
contract.
I don't know what
That's
the
included,
budget.
that's included in the contract.
When we went out, we would give you those figures so that you could have it.
I mean, for my purpose, I want a total of what the whole thing's gonna cost.
Okay, so right now you have your
I mean,
office,
for budget purposes, we have to know what it's gonna cost.
your Panasonic that you have in your office, I think you guys are doing about, right around 2,000 a month copies. but you're also doing in your office on that HP 9050 that I think you use it to print checks. You're also doing on that one about $1,800 a month on it as well. So in your office, and then you have a little brother fax machine, which is,
And then I have a,
costs you money for it to
Copier
just
in
sit
my
there,
office.
because you only do about 15 pages a month. And it's pulling electricity to be on all the time. And you have to buy a cartridge for it, which cartridges for that are around $47 to $50 each time you replace a cartridge, which is not gonna be a lot at 15 pages a month. But you're gonna, most people that have a fax machine is gonna have a backup cartridge in case something happens, because you do need that fax machine. So, there's a cost there that can't really be figured in to a monthly cost. We would have to they'll figure that in as an annual cost and then divide it out for a monthly cost.
so will each department then will be billed for what's in their office, or will it all come in as one bill?
However you wanna set it up. We can do it where everybody is one. We can do it on the same date, where everybody's bill comes in at one time, but it's separate.
Yeah, that's a good point, because of budgeting.
Because of budgetary stuff, I mean, we have to know what we have to budget, like in my office and in any other office. They have to know what they have to budget to pay for these costs.
Right. So if you have your budget for copying, and sit down with me in your office and we go over that budget, and give me the number that I have to work with, we will get underneath what your budget is.
I mean, right now,
If we can't, we
Yeah,
don't.
I don't think that's gonna be an issue, getting underneath our budget, because if you're saying they're all cheaper, you promise they're cheaper,
Right,
that's
it's
not
gonna
the
be
issue.
cheaper.
The issue is, from your perspective, you're getting paid with Washington County money, because you got a contract with Washington
Right.
County. From everybody's perspective who has a copier, we break it down by department, and each department submits a budget, and there's comprehensive, we just went through this process. I think what Sarah's point is different than what you're saying. I think it's just, we need to make sure that that's broken down, so that we know what the consumption is per office.
Yeah, and it would be, if you have separate contracts, it's gonna be broken down separately for each office.
Well, it'll have to be for a while anyway,
Right,
because you're gonna phase the present copiers out
right,
as they wear out. You're not gonna go in and just replace them. So-
absolutely.
Or till they use up their materials, so you're gonna just phase them out, so you're gonna have different expenses per department. No department's gonna be the same.
So you are then talking about doing separate contracts with
It
each
has to be.
department?
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah, but it would be
Wouldn't have to.
one billing date.
We could have a contract with them that allowed them to work their way in and take over as, we could be one contract.
yeah, yeah. Bobby, you had a question?
Yeah, my question on that copier or whatever it is you're gonna put in the judge's part up there, when you say $80 a month, there's gotta be a deposit. Otherwise, you're just gonna put a machine in there and not charge anything for the machine.
It's $80 a month for the lease, so there's no deposit.
There's no deposit, like if you're
No.
leasing a car, you don't pay like $19.95 up front and
No.
$85 a month. That's
Now,
all.
when you sign the lease, the day they sign the lease, we get the equipment out there, we will bill you the following billing cycle. So if you sign the lease on January 1st, your bill will come February 1st.
It's for a lease, not for any kind, there's no kind of deposit on any of that.
There's no deposit.
Day or something.
If something, and what the really good thing about this is if you have budget cuts and you have to cut that contract, you call us, we come pick it up, we don't charge you. That's through the state of Indiana. We can't charge you any kind of fee for canceling your contract.
Okay, so the ones out here that have the leases, because I'm trying to get a picture here, the ones out here that have the leases, they will continue with those leases until they're up, right?
Until they're
I mean,
up.
you won't be doing anything with them until those leases are up. Then you will go in and, then it would be then that each, like my office, then it'd be individual office that would take care of then their copier and stuff, like you
Right.
said in my office.
Like, normally what will happen is 6 months before the lease expires, because there's that 180-day window,
budget for leases.
At that time, I will go in, we will contact the leasing vendor that you have now. We will find out what the buyout is, and that will be figured into the lease. And so if it goes above their budget, then we have to wait for the end of the lease. We notify them at that 6-month window that you will not be renewing. Otherwise, if you do not notify them, they will automatically renew that for a year. And you
So,
will be
and
locked
you take
in.
care of that?
No, you have to contact them. I will
You will
assist you.
notify us to contact them?
Yes. Usually they require written notice between 180 days and 90 days.
Didn't we have, okay, we had another company that approached us
Yeah.
to do this exact
Yes.
same thing. Was it last commissioner's
Yes.
meeting? What was the name of that company? Look at the minutes.
Last meeting.
Miller Company, Sean and Connor Miller Company.
Yeah.
So I don't know, you know. I kinda wanted to get two.
I like
Two
your presentation myself, but I'm recommending we wait until our next meeting to decide on this contract. Everything look good that you present. I would like to talk to Mr. Peterson about the GPN Center Meadows and see your response time on the service calls and things like that, and decide the next meeting.
Has this other company started anything that's there?
I think they have came and got the information. That-
They're doing pretty well the same thing you did,
Right.
okay? And that's what we're kind of waiting to see what they're coming up with. Now, where they come back by next meeting or not, John, I don't know.
We can contact them until
Tell
it
them
needs to be done because
they
of
have
budget.
to.
Now, I would contact them, and I would also go to the state of Indiana website, and I can send you, whoever wants that information, I can send that to you, and see if they will meet the requirements of no late fees and no property taxes,
No cancellation.
no cancellation fees
Right.
at any time. See if they will meet those requirements, because I don't think that most leasing companies that don't do, that aren't in the situation that we are in, will agree to something like that.
And when we got on the state contract, we had to bid against Xerox, and the Miller Company probably bid on it too, so we won the bid on the state contract.
Hi, Pam.
I just want to say, they are going through the same Indiana website stuff that I do for the salt bid and everything. The state goes around and gets different companies and tries to get the best bid for the state. I don't know if the Miller Company is actually going through the state, but since they go through the state and do that bidding process, there are certain guidelines they have to go by, because that's what they do with our salt
Right.
and stuff that we bid on.
I would like that information.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you my email.
We can probably short circuit this process by contacting one company like she suggested.
I think you're right.
Yeah, and the Miller Company is not on the state of Indiana contract. We are the only ones. You can also contact, through the website that I'm going to send you, Mr. Brown, you can contact, the state of, through IDOA. And I don't remember the lady's name. I do know my rep, and for the state of Indiana is Chris Johnson. You can feel free to contact him with any questions as well.
Okay, sounds good. I'd still like that information. Just email it to me.
Okay.
See what the governor's office.
I'm
Seems
sorry.
like he's with the governor's office, isn't he? Chris Johnson?
No, he's actually the RICO representative. He's worked with the state of Indiana since, probably 2005, 2004, when the very first contract went through. That's the only job he has, is to work with the state of Indiana through our have any questions about service agreements or service, that you want to verify with him what I'm telling you, feel more than free to do that. And then I'll give you the contact info for him, I'll give you the contact info for, the young woman that works at the, Indiana Department of Administration as well.
Good news, Bureau of Motor Vehicles is one of our largest customers, state of Indiana, they're a reference.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you. And as far as the document management, I would like to send more information to you, Tom, and to the rest of you.
We kind of just want to attack this one step at a time.
Absolutely,
Go
absolutely.
through this and then we'll go about the others.
Right. I just want to kind of get some clarification over as far as what kind of services we offer besides copiers. And absolutely do it one step at a time, but to, not completely close that door for the future, because it's something that you guys could probably benefit from. Maybe not today, but in the future, of course.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Megan, do you have a copy?
I do.
Jim Souter.
I'm going to abbreviate my comments and not take up very much of your time.
Okay, I'll abbreviate ours. No, you can't? Okay.
What's that?
No, you can't?
Okay.
Go ahead.
Back in August, I appeared before the county council to submit my 2013 budget, and in my 2013 budget, I asked for a position adjustment on one of the ladies that was in my office. I cut my other budget items, about 7 or 8 of them, to more than fully pay for this position adjustment. That I was advised by the attorney for the county council that this is a which comes first, the chicken or the egg issue, and said that I also needed to appear before the county commissioners on that. So what I am asking for the county commissioners is that if the county council funds a position adjustment, moving my third deputy up to a second deputy, would the county commissioners be willing to sign the payroll that is submitted starting in 2013 on the salaries?
Okay, you're going to move this position of third deputy to second deputy.
Correct. Which is in the ballpark of $500, but it is only a position adjustment, it's not a raise.
Yeah. She's been paid that now?
No.
She'll move up to
She'll
the
Move up to
position.
that, yeah.
I think I, heard the situation, it was explained to me, and I'm okay with it.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, she's doing second deputy work anyway.
Basically, yeah, yeah.
I mean,
But that's,
actually, she's been a second deputy for,
she's been the second person in my office for many years, yeah.
yeah.
Within your budget, you say you moved.
Yes, I've reduced line item, as a matter of fact, yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion been made and second, we go ahead and approve that line item adjustment from Mr. Souter. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Thank you very much.
That was quick.
Thank you.
Should we put it at one time?
I was gonna tell you, you still gotta go through the county council. He knows that.
Yeah.
Mike is actually a client of mine, and I told him that I'd be not able to, it may be inappropriate for him to come before you and have you all look at me for advice to address this situation, so.
Okay. He's not gonna be here, you're taking care of it.
But
right?
basically, I mean, there's a dispute, he's been having a dispute with the neighbor over, he built his half of the property line fence, the neighbor hasn't built their half of the property line fence, and he wants to.
That's it?
Well, I was mid-sentence, but, he built his half of the property line fence, the neighbor hasn't built their half of the property line fence, and he wants the trustee to force that issue, and that's not his, there's a breakdown, he's wanting the commissioners to involve themselves, and,
He's contacted me.
yeah,
And
so I told him he can keep contacting you, but, that's the situation.
the whole problem is,
Yeah.
well, I mean,
He's not here, so,
Yeah.
and I told him, I just don't think it's,
we won't
you know,
talk
there's not
about it.
anything you can do, but, so anyway.
Okay. Then we're gonna move on. Shirley Bath.
Now Shirley had to leave because she has that meeting, public meeting for the voter, thing. But, basically all she needs, you guys need to approve the, precinct, the
Okay.
voting places.
What this is all the different precincts, gentlemen, of the voting places that Shirley has set up. There are three of them.
All right, there. Then you,
There is one change, down at Pekin, and it's just a minor change, but it's just moving from one building to another. Let me find it. East Washington. And where I went down there and met with Shirley and the principal and the assistant principal, and what they're setting up is the gymnasium at the middle school. The middle school gymnasium, which is on the far east side. And if anybody living down around Polk Township asks you where to vote, and I'll just tell everybody, just tell them to park by the bus barn and look toward the school, and they'll see the door to go in. But the bus barn, the big parking lot right by the bus barn is where the vehicles will park to go in to vote. And it's just right in that door. Basically, the only reason why we had to go down is anytime there's a change in polls, okay? Tom, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but apparently this is state law, but the clerk, the election board, one commissioner, and of course the other people involved in the switch up here, and they examine the poll. It has to have proper exits, entrances and exits, has to be wheelchair accessible and all this other stuff, and an area to be able to rope off. And we went through all that with the principal, everything's looked real good. I mean, it's a gymnasium, so there's plenty of room for tables, and plenty of room for roping and all that. One thing that the school did impress, and I know the politicians, you know, you like to get your signs as close to the pole as you can get them, but I think the decision was that they're not gonna allow the signs on the school property. It'll be across the road. You can put all you want across the road, I guess, if you know the people that own the land over there. But they're trying to keep all that off of it. But that's the only change that I know of in all the precincts.
Where they go
And at the other building. It's just a move from one end to another, the way I took it. So the bottom line is, though, the commissioners have to approve the voting conditions.
I move to approve the new polling places for elections.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, a motion been made and second that all the voting locations be approved for the year 2012. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Sarah, do you want this one?
I would be copy for Shirley. I'm gonna copy for Shirley.
Okay. So anyone that wants a copy of these for the precincts and things, you can get them at the clerk's office, or we can run copies.
Yeah, you were saying that we couldn't put signs there. Is that private property across the street?
Yeah, homeowner.
Okay, don't they have to allow us to put our signs on the voting? They do it at the National Guard, that's,
It's gotta be, well,
I mean, I understand it's 50 feet or whatever,
yeah.
but can we
The
not
problem
put them?
with that, Byron, is when you get to the 50 feet, the next place to even put signs is on blacktop.
Well, I understand, but, I mean, this individual may say, I don't want all those signs on my property. Can we not put them at the entrance to the school, or, there's gotta be a grassy area there close to voting, I mean, I'm
The
not.
only grassy area is within the 50 feet area. It's all concrete and asphalt around it. There's one little strip that's about 8 or 10 feet wide right outside the door, in between the doors, and the rest of it's all concrete and blacktop.
There's no grassy area around that school entrance at all,
Well,
we
that
could
is
put signs.
Not at the, no, not at the middle school at all.
Among softball games.
Phil, you're from down there, that's all I see.
There's not, it's all concrete. Can't you just put your sign where
You could put it on 2x4s.
Yeah, put it on
make it
2x4s
flat,
and then
Might
put
be
a
able to do
stand
that,
on
maybe
top of
about
it.
50 feet.
just make a stand that'll set on the concrete.
And there is a sidewalk where you enter from the bus barn, which would probably put you in a 50-foot away from the door. And you could use, rather, where we all use stick-in stakes, you might figure a board at the bottom to put your sign on, and then use a sandbag for a windy day.
Just all I seen, Byron, I'm just relaying
Well, I
information,
mean,
that's
yeah,
what I
I
seen.
mean, I just, if that's a private property, you
Across
start
the
putting
road,
30
across
signs
the
down
road,
through there.
now, there is people that have signs there already.
Okay.
Well, you've
They've
got
got signs stuck there.
3 entrances there, so you need to get by the door, or else it's gonna take you 3 signs. But you only enter from that front door.
From the one, well, it's a side door, not the very
Side
front.
door.
The very front will be blocked off for the school kids. Okay? And there'll be a curtain over the double door going out into the school, because that'll just be the voting poll will be there, and it's the side door down from the main entrance. And then there's another exit door.
That's all blacktop.
That's all blacktop. That's what I'm saying, that's all blacktop, so however you want to do it. Okay? That takes care of that. Cecilia, who didn't know if she's gonna be here or not, but she's here.
I am here. Well, you guys all know that Blue River Fire Protection District did get the project awarded, thanks to Washington County being the applicants for that, the commissioners being the applicant for that. So we're going on to the next phase, which is to begin to award contracts, and so the first one I have to present, and you have reviewed this one, correct? This one is for the River Hills with Washington County Commissioners, so presenting that to you. I have signatures here for both Mr. Brown and for Sarah, so to do the grant administration price.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Second.
and sign it.
motion been made and second, we go ahead and sign this for approval. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
We didn't have a meeting in September, except annual meeting, did we?
We just recently had a meeting, like last Thursday. It was an executive.
Well, you got 2 sets of these.
It was an executive meeting. Yes, there's 2 copies, one's gonna be for the county and one's gonna be for us. And I do need to take it back with me to get signatures from our board president as well. The second thing that I'm presenting is that, John Hawkins of Covert Hawkins Architects has been working to, prepare the portion in the application to design the fire station and so forth. He's put a lot of work into this, and so I do have a letter from Brian Boyles, who is the president with the Blue River Fire Protection District, saying that they have, they would like to recommend to the county commissioners to select John Hawkins to be their architect for the project. And if you do approve of that, I do have a contract prepared. However, the attorney has not had
a single commissioner to do that one.
As far as the signature, it'll be,
Right.
yeah.
I just wanted to make that part of the motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion been made and second that we approve the contract with Colbert and Hawkins for the building of the fire station at Blue River Fire Station project, which they just received a grant on. Upon attorney's approval of that contract, and I'll sign it, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Those same sign, okay.
John does a good job. Glad that they recommended him.
I wanted to ask you, Tom, if, I do have the architect's draft. We haven't reviewed it. Do you want to review this, or do you want to wait till we review it first?
Go ahead, that's I assumed it was gonna be that standard state form. So, I just happen to have another one like that in my possession on another project right now. So, it's just, if it gets emailed to me or whatever, that's already fine. It just won't take long.
Very good. Do you have any questions of me? Oh,
We do have a ribbon cutting coming up.
On the 25th,
Wait a minute.
the fair housing.
Have it.
And
That has nothing to do with.
That has nothing to do with us, so, yeah, Jill was asking me about that.
sorry about the confusion.
Okay, anything else? Okay.
Thank you.
Do you want me to just give you copies of this after it's fully?
After it's good, yeah, because I downloaded it when you sent it, I have a copy of it, it's not signed by anybody, but it's signed.
Joe and Mark's here, so we can go right ahead.
Joe's not able to make it, but he's got two representatives.
Yeah, y'all come up.
I don't know the details.
Yeah, as we get started, we'll, after he passes this out, we'll introduce her.
Joe Marak's got some family illness, and he won't be able to be here. This is Sanjay Patel and Eric Wetland, who worked with Joe.
Could you go ahead and, because the auditor's taking this,
Cards, just have cards, that's all I need. I can do it all the time, I understand.
Okay, and Joe will be able to attend in a couple of weeks, but he couldn't. We had a kickoff meeting, as some of you know, back on the 21st of September, and again, I want to thank you all for having us here. Les Smith is here, he's one of our project managers. Back in that meeting, and we've given you a brief summary there of that meeting. Like I say, some of you have seen it. And I'll just go over that real briefly here for you for a moment. Joe Marak presented a brief history of the project back in 2005, and then presented some revised floor plans that have been discussed previously. And then Joe Marak, RQW and our firm, we discussed various strategic methods concerning the public bidding of the project. In terms of base bid and additive alternates, and it makes the most sense to have the base bid be the new pod, the kitchen, the foyer, the video visitation. And then the additive alternates would be things like the shell of the sheriff's area and the build out of it, and the shell of the courts, and then the build out of that, and then other renovations. Then you'd have like based on that, then on bid day, you guys will have a menu you can pick from and select things that are most important to you after the bids are open, and then you can see where how far the budget can go. And this will give you maximum flexibility. Then in the meeting, we talked about cost-saving measures, prefabrication methods, various ways of cost savings. Strategies for interior renovations are still in the planning stages.
One option is to have some energy-saving providers give some written proposals to renovate on interiors and then use cost savings as a way to help finance that. And there was a lengthy discussion from all the attendees about financing strategies. Bond counsel and financial advisors were there. Lisa Lee with Ice Miller and Gary Malone of H.J. Humboldt. And they talked about financing options, and people in attendance were very engaged in that conversation. And we gave, Joe and I gave H.J. Humboldt some input on some selected soft costs. H.J. Humboldt takes other selected soft costs, bond issuance costs, and we can work backwards from the 12 million and come up with a hard cost target. And they're working on that now and should have that in a day or so. And Lisa talked about a leasing process for leasing some of the existing building prior to completion of new work, which could reduce your capitalized interest up to and close to $1 million if you do something like that. There's a timeline attached here that Lisa has attached to there that you guys, I think some of you have seen. It's an estimated discussion timeline of some steps that would happen from now until you break ground. And, Mr. Cyphers is well aware of this, and he's on top of it and knows the steps that need to be taken. What we want to ask you guys, if you're willing and if you're ready to move forward with that, because the next steps are going to be some of the steps in the legal work here, and which Tom might be able to address some of that. But we estimate about a 4-month design time and a bidding process of about a month, and then about 18 months of work. And as these designs develop, they'll be brought into RQEW. We'll be in here for meetings, and we'll go through these things as they develop. So you'll be able to go step by step through this process. You'll be in every decision. You'll be in every input and every bit of this thing. So that's kind of basically where we are now. So we'll need we want you to think about that and decide what next steps you want to do, what the next steps are, and see if you want to proceed forward. Tom might have a thing he might want to say.
Yeah, I think first I was just ask if everybody kind of understands. I know it's kind of a lot at once, but does anybody have any questions on what they're talking about as far as hard costs, soft costs, and all that? 'Cause basically, we're going to have to, this idea of a design and these additive alternates, kind of base bid additive alternates is neat in that we don't know what the scope of this project is going to be until we get all the bids. And but knowing what this maximum bond, this bond issue, how much of that's going to be actually hard costs that can go into, has a lot to do with what additive alternates we can accept once those come in. And we don't have any proposed drawings to present or anything like that.
Not at this time, other than what we've already had. Other than what we had.
Right, but I mean for public, just or whatever. But that's something we can.
We'll have Joe back in 2 weeks, and he'll bring his easel down, and put the big drawings. It'll be a lot easier to see.
But basically, the number one priority is the addition of a pod for housing new prisoners at the back. That's
And
the
the
number.
kitchen.
And the kitchen area that supports that. Okay, that's a mandatory support for that new structure. Additional add-ons up near the front on the east side would include new court and new sheriff administration area. And then there's the foyer area, and the existing foyer would be expanded with additional, add-ons and stuff. But and then the existing property is subject to a renovation under a different process. It'd be kind of done down the line. But anyway, how much of that we can do, whether it's build the shells in addition to the pod or filling in the shells, building those out or whatever is really depends on how
Right.
bids come in.
And you guys would be deciding if the court area is a higher priority than the sheriff area, for example, if it gets down to that. So, but we'll be bringing you through that step by step.
We discussed the possibility of doing this where you have a ground, kind of like a semi-basement basement, but that's just not gonna be feasible.
We're
Thing that
work-
was brought up.
We've been studying that, and we'll get you a response to that.
I mean,
It's kind of,
ultimately, I mean,
it's not,
it's not looking really
it's
promising.
not working well logistically, you know, even if it might even make sense, it's not working well from a logistics standpoint. Now, access, all the access.
Well, it wouldn't, didn't Joe say it wouldn't work with those prefabricated pods? That if you had a basement there?
But
that-
based on the logistics of moving people and the management of it. it's being
And I was
done.
afraid there would be something underneath that,
Yeah.
you're underneath the jail.
Certainly,
You got a
They're-
water
They're sure
leak.
gonna stop something.
Yeah.
That was
Mess up the electronics and so on and so forth.
As part of this process, one thing we would do, there's a couple items we need to take up, is we've got professionals that we're looking at signing on, we're gonna have contracts with all of them. We got architects, RQAW, we've got financial advisors, HJM, Bond Associates, we've got bond counsel, Lisa Lee, and we've got our construction managers, Shireman here. So we've got 4 contracts that we need to sign. And then also, once this project starts, part of the initial process will be, we're going to transfer the real estate to a building corporation that will then lease it back to the county. And this is what was done, you know, when we originally built this project. And so one of the things that I have here is a resolution to do that and to appoint appraisers, because we have, the lease rate has to be based on actual hard numbers, hard data. And so there's a resolution authorizing the appointment of 2 independent appraisers to do that, and so that then we can enter into, do a transfer of the property. And then at the end, the property be transferred back at the end of the lease. It'll be a lease purchase. So at the end, it will transfer back to the county. But
Where does the funding come from to pay for these appraisals though? Because you're talking, commercial appraisals are gonna run $2,500 to $5,000 piece, I would guess. Is that,
I'm not sure if it'll be that much or not.
We have an appraisal for the current sheriff's department that was done last year by Buckland and Associates.
Is it the entire real estate up there? Or is it just the sheriff's?
I think it's the building.
but the appraisal's gotta be based on the proposed project, right? They're gonna look at your.
No, it's the existing, because that's what the lease has to be based on.
Well,
That's a good
that's-
question, but no, it's.
I'll email you a copy and let you know.
Well, according to this, it's the whole timeline here, October the, gosh, today's my birthday. You have so many of them, you want to.
Surprise, surprise.
That's shocking. Today, apparently, we are to adopt a resolution of the need for a facility, we know that happened. Adopts reimbursement resolution and authorizes 2 independent appraisals for existing jail facility. So we need to authorize maybe possibly 1, right, Tom? Is that another one pans out?
They're
No,
authorized.
We need to authorize the 2, and then we'll see what happens. Okay.
I'll make a motion, for ready.
Okay, yeah, basically, let me complete the thought there. We've got, one of these is, a resolution of the need for the project and call for the appointment to appraisals. And then this reimbursement resolution, basically because this bond, there's no bond yet. You know, this will be paid for through bonding, and it'll be municipal tax-free bonds. If the county incurs certain expenses in advance, like these appraisal costs, then this can be reimbursed through the tax-free bond rate. But as far as advancing the money now, that's, that's something we have to work out. But this resolution by IRS regulation allows us, should we incur some advanced costs, can be reimbursed at the tax-free resolution of the Board of Commissioners of Washington County determining the need for a project, intent to proceed, and appointment of appraisers.
Okay. I'll make the motion for the first resolution. As Tom read it.
Okay, motion been made and so we adopt that resolution, for reimbursement is that the reimbursement?
No, that's
Or authorizes two independent.
That's the need for project, intent to proceed, and appointment of appraisers.
Okay. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign. Okay, motion carried on that.
And then the second resolution is a declaration of official intent to reimburse expenditures. And it just says, the issuer hereby declares its official intent to construct a project and to reimburse itself for the cost of construction of the project with proceeds of debt to be incurred by or on behalf of the issuer. Issuer reasonably expects to reimburse itself for the proceeds of obligations issued by or on behalf of the issuer for cost of project paid prior to issuance of the debt obligation. So
This is the reimbursement.
this is the
resolution.
reimbursement.
I'll take a motion for that.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Thank you. Motion carried.
Okay. Now, and I want to send these up, because as part of the bond issuance, we've got to keep track and have copies of these, everything available. So let's get copies of these immediately up to, get them back to the copy to me, and I'll make a copy and send it to Lisa Lee.
Put them in your box as soon as I get back.
Okay.
Make a copy and put them in your box.
Okay, and then I'll talk to, we'll talk to about as far as the appointment of appraisers, but we're gonna have to. And then I've got contracts, and what I'd like to do is, before I address those, ask if anyone from RQAW has anything to report, any holes that we've missed as far as explaining the process.
Last Friday, we sent the contracts, or draft copy to Tom for review. I don't know if you've had much time to review it.
Yeah,
If any,
yeah, but I mean, as far as, I was gonna address that, as far as the, anything we've talked about that you'd like to add, as far as.
I think Mark made a good presentation on the summary of what we are, scope of detail and how much.
So we pretty well covered everything according to the timetable for today. Is that right?
And next week,
Seems like
next meeting,
October
we'll bring-
16th.
Yeah, we'll bring the bigger drawings in where everybody can see, show you where.
And that's when we'll receive the joint appraisal.
Where we hope so that we get finished.
What's the timetable for the, the subcommittee that we approved? Are we gonna have another meeting here, discuss anything prior to the next commission meeting?
I'll have to get back to you on that, I'm not exactly sure of what we have. If we have something, yes, we'll be in touch. That'd be a good idea. We'll see what we need to do. Because we had a great meeting, it's a good.
Okay, I have 4 contracts with me today. The first 2 that I reviewed were the financial advisor and the bond counsel, the 2 that aren't here today. And based on my review, and first of all, let me explain a little bit about bond counsel is Lisa Lee from Ice Miller. And for those of you who don't know, Lisa Lee has been working with Washington County uncompensated on multiple projects since about 2005, 2006. She helped us establish our first TIF district and get the redevelopment commission up and going. There have been several possible projects that have come up over the years where she's come down to Washington County, met with some key people, talked about, what it might take if we wanted to build something or do something to help lure this entity into Washington County. And thus far, nothing gained traction in the end. There's been no fruits for her labor. And anyway, she has shown a keen interest in Washington County and a great willingness to work with us. And she's very intelligent, pleasant person who's very responsive when we have questions. She's extremely responsive, and that's always nice to have. So those of us who've worked with her in the past, we had I wanted to make sure that we tried to use her, and everybody agreed. So what I have here is basically a request that the commissioners approve the proposed contract by Ice Miller through Lisa Lee. And this was mailed to me dated September 24th.
I'll make the motion to approve contract. Second, Ice Miller.
And this one does require all three, she wrote it out for all three signatures.
Okay, motion been made that we approve the contract. And second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. All the same sign.
Okay, and then basically we'll need to copy that, send that back to them, and keep a copy for ourselves, Sarah.
Do you want me to just send it to her, do you need to bring it back to you, do you want me to just go ahead and mail it back?
Just go ahead and mail it.
Okay. Will do.
Well, let me keep a copy. I can make a copy off yours,
Okay,
or if you make a copy for me.
yeah, I'll make one for you.
So, next one I have here is, Umball, and they sent us 3 originals, so that everybody can have an original, I guess. And I reviewed that, and Brian Colton, has already signed all 3. And so, what HJ Umball does is, as a financial advisor, they will do projections based on, and they help in the underwriting, finding buyers for the bonds. They work very closely with the construction manager, the county, and the bond council in financing, finding a way to fund the project, and trying to find us the best rate available and the most marketable bonds we can get. So their role is key, and often that little extra additive that we might get or not get may depend on an interest rate we get based on what they're able to do. Umball has also been intimately involved with the county for the last 6 years on similar projects as well as Lee is. And every time we have a proposed project, they do projections of, like, if something's in a TIF district, what kind of revenues will the additional improvements generate for incremental financing, tax revenues, and so these are people we're very familiar with. So I would ask for, and this is just one signature, I would ask for a motion to approve the contract with Umball and Associates.
I move we approve HJ Umball as our financial advisors for the project.
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded, we approve Umball Associates. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
And I just asked Dave Brown to sign all 3, and then, I don't know if we'll have, I guess we'll just keep one and we'll send both of them back to them, but they'll say in the cover letter there. Sarah, okay? All right, finally, are the architects and the construction manager, which we had before us. I did receive RQAWs the other day and printed it out kind of in a black and white format. And unfortunately, this says draft.
It was a draft version.
I talked to Joe Marac yesterday. As you can see, this is AIA document C-132, 2009. This is the current construction managers, it's a state-approved form, so it's, everything's pretty boilerplate, and there's just some fill-in-the-blanks as far as who notices are gonna be sent to, scope of the project, things like that. So as far as the construction manager goes, I think it would be appropriate for us to sign it. However, one of the things was who's gonna be the lead person, and they kind of just inserted to be determined. I don't have a problem if we go ahead and sign it like that and just verbally agree.
Lead person.
Yeah, yeah, who's gonna be receiving it, and I think the issue there is, the reason it's an issue to me is that John Mishler's been the one kind of dealing with this, but
It could change.
he doesn't have much time left
And it could
with
change.
us.
They just asked. It could be all three of them.
Right.
Or it's just a blank.
Sure, so I'm gonna ask that we just go ahead and approve this as is, and also that, let's go ahead and address them one at a time. So I'm gonna suggest that we approve the contract with Shireman as our construction manager.
I'll make the motion.
Motion been made and approved, second, that we approve the contract with Sharman. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Opposed, same sign.
I'm gonna give the original and a copy to Dave Brown to sign and date on the back page, and we'll keep the copy and give them the original. Okay?
Sure.
Okay. You see that? And then finally is the contract with RQAW. And everybody probably knows, but just to reinforce, RQAW was on this project back in '05. And we're ready to go, and I think we even let bids on the project. So we've gone through the completion design phase and let bids on it. And then we halted the project. So fast forward, I don't know if that was in '07, I think, but fast forward 5 years again, and here we are. And RQAW was, number one, I think they're probably the biggest jail architecture firm around in the Midwest. I don't know outside of that, but that's the feedback we generally get. And for sick and twisted reasons, Joe Marac really likes doing jails. I guess, I don't know, but most people like to do pretty buildings, but not Joe. So I do have, this, again, this is a standard AIA document B-132/2009 for the architects. This is a draft form. What I'd like is for someone to authorize David Brown to execute this agreement outside the meeting. What they'll do is they'll send it to me, and I can print it off in a duplicate, and then we'll have 2 originals. But I just ask for a motion and approval to
I'll second motion.
to approve the contract, and for you to sign it, and for you to sign
Form,
it.
you sign it. All those in favor, raise your right hand.
Okay, so if you all would, so I don't know if Eric or Sanjay or Joe. Okay. Somebody can send me originals, and we'll get that, I'll get that done. And I think that's it on the jail.
So then we'll meet again, the 16th, or the joint appraisal will be the 16th.
We'll, hopefully, we'll get those.
And we'll make sure we have the boards to,
We'll bring the information on that.
get a better idea of the scope.
We'll be here on
So,
that.
so you're gonna check in.
I'm gonna let you know.
And the appraisals, who's gonna order the appraisal?
Well, no, I'll get, well, I talked to Lisa yesterday, and she told me that Joe can probably give me some ideas of some firms that have done jail appraisals in the past. If that's necessary. All right,
Okay.
thank you guys.
Okay, thank you.
know Pam, she is anxious to get back to work later. There's two issues here that I know we're bringing before us. One is the phone line hookup that we just made in Frontier, got all that mess straightened out. So you want to explain that, Pam?
What they did is they came in and they put in lane lines, and, they put in one for Travis, Desi, myself, there's a fax line. There's one for Gerald, and there's supposed to be one in the shop, but it has yet to have been put in yet. A couple weeks ago, I got this bill for $1,275.57. Well, of course, I kind of like freaked out at it, and I thought, is this the bill that we're always gonna have to pay? Because when we had prior landlines, the most any of the departments had to pay, I think the highway paid $75, and the, building commissioner and the 911 addressing paid $35 for a landline. When I called Frontier, they told me this was like a month and a half bill, and our bill would run $635 a month. And I kind of like froze in my boots, because there's no way the highway can afford to pay $635 a month for a phone bill. The operator also proceeded to tell me that there was what they called RPI, and we could have up to 100 incoming lines. The highway doesn't need anywhere near 100 incoming lines.
We're looking to expand over the budget.
I've heard just the opposite, so.
We're gonna expand all the way to Scottsdale.
Yeah. So, my next step was I called Bill, and I asked Bill, he is with CyberTech, because he is the one that put in some of the stuff that before Frontier came. And he said, well, I think the bill is gonna be about $600 a month. And I said, well, you might as well come and take the phone, because I can't afford to pay that. He said, well, let me check with Dave, which is his boss. Well, Bill and I are kind of in between here. And I'm not mad at Bill, but I feel like Dave, not you, Dave, the Dave with
I appreciate
CyberTech.
that, thank you.
Yeah, the Dave with CyberTech, it's just always, well, Dave this and Dave this and Dave this, and we never hear anything. Bill actually told me that there was a contract that was signed with Frontier by the commissioners and by him. And we have the 3 of these PRIs, which I can't explain to you exactly what a PRI is, okay? That goes from the highway department to the county courthouse and to the jail. He said, check with Sarah. So Thursday, I went and checked with Sarah. Sarah went through all of her contracts. There is not one sheet of paper that there's a contract with Frontier. So I went back to Bill and I said, Bill, we cannot find a contract. So he sent me an email, which I gave you guys a copy of, that says he's gonna bring a copy of the contract on Friday and give it to Sarah. And he said he wasn't for sure who actually signed this contract, but I've yet to see it. So I told Dave the other day, I said, I'm not paying this bill until everything's straightened out and everything is completed. Desi and Travis, neither one have individual lines yet. Their line's still ringing to my phone, and I have to transfer their calls to them, which is not an inconvenience for me. That's fine, it doesn't bother me. But if we're paying for that service, we're not getting it. The shop phone has not been put out there yet as well. So I think Dave with with CyberTech, somebody needs to come and talk to us and explain what is going on. And our phone bill should not run any more than $250, $300 at the most for these landlines. So I don't know what they've done, but I wanted to bring it to your attention. I talked to Dave Brown the other day about it, and that's when he suggested that I come talk to you guys. Because Sarah and I talked a little bit about it, and I've talked to Bill about it, and I feel like sometimes, not to say anything about Bill, but I can't get what I need from Dave with CyberTech.
Has Blue River Networking ever looked at our phone lines to try to do something?
Not that I know of.
Are they working now, or your line's working now?
Well, they've gone down twice. Every time it storms, they go down now.
this last page, you say this is the contract he sent you?
No, this is the email. There's a page in the, you have 3 pages there?
Yeah, the front one?
Yeah, that's the front page. I don't have a contract.
This
That's
is the
what,
email.
yeah, this is the email, and,
She's supposed to write the contract Friday.
yeah. David said he would bring copies on Friday, give to Sarah. Dave, gave to Sarah and Commissioner of the meeting, not sure who signed. And then that's where he's talking about the bill was $1,800 for 2 RPIs that you were originally paying. And he said now you're getting 3 RPIs for the same amount. So,
RPI. TR.
so anyway, I'll be interested to see what he's got to show us on Friday.
So what again is a PR?
That's what I said, I can't
He's not
explain
really
to
sure.
you, except that it has something to do with the incoming lines.
And this, are we, I'm assuming we're paying so much because each one,
Right, we're paying a base fee, he says at $1,800. But on my bill, if you look at the second page on the bill, it breaks it down, and for those 100 PRI lines, we're paying just a $500 base charge, just for that.
That's what I see there.
And that's each month, by what I'm understanding. And then see, our prorated phone charges were $639.67. Well, then I asked, I said, well, we're a government agency, do we still have to pay taxes? Because they're charging us taxes and surcharges, and I didn't think being a government agency, they still did that.
It's sales tax, we don't get charged for sales tax.
So, well, that's what that 7616, it says Indiana state sales tax, that very last line.
do we pay federal taxes?
Yeah.
So, but there's a lot of questions here that are definitely not answered. And I don't know whether, like, when he comes up Friday, if that's something that we, I need to call Dave and say, hey, we need to look at this and see what this is. And what if he doesn't produce a contract? I mean, I just think it's awfully funny that I've talked to him for a week now and he's never, they haven't got me a contract.
Tom, what grounds do we have? I mean, I think we all realize this bill is crazy. This doesn't even make sense. It doesn't even make good sense. I don't understand what PRI bundles and all that.
I can tell you what, I can remember David Neal coming in here and talking to us about PRIs and us asking if this was gonna cost us any more. He said, no, actually, you're getting 3 when you used to get 2. This may be, there's too many unanswered questions. So before I answer as to our grounds for anything, what if, we're looking at this as a bill for the highway department. What might be happening is, what if there's a service to this building, a service to the courthouse, and now a third service to the highway department, and what we're doing is replacing some line that we already have. I don't know. I need to figure out what this.
That's the way I understand him.
And so this bill might not have anything to do, this might be part of what we used to be paying through Matrix, okay? Which no longer is there. And we're seeing this as, oh my gosh, this is the highway department's phone bill, when really it isn't. This might be a data.
But the man told her though that our monthly bill is
Yeah,
gonna
the
average
operator
$600 a month,
Yeah, the operator told me that our average bill would be $635 a month.
which
Now,
is ridiculous.
she may have misunderstood me, and that would have been for the PRIs as well. I don't know, but when I talked to Bill, he talked like that would be our.
Again, I'm not a party to any of these conversations. I'm not gonna sit here and talk in hypotheticals and what the third person said. I'm just saying, we need to follow up with David Neal, get him back in here to explain what PRIs are. And I do remember though that he was asked, is this gonna cost any more money?
I remember
And
that.
it was, no, it was.
Jay, my bill at the shop, I got Frontier, we've got 2 landlines, an internet service is $260 a month, and an 800 number. So I got 2 landlines, 800 number, and internet for $260 a month. I'll bring the bill in if you wanna look at it, and that way.
We believe you, but.
Well, if you want something to shoot off of,
But you can't expand to 100 lines like they can.
well, no.
I
I'd
mean,
like to have.
you know, what, we don't even need that, we don't need that, if that's what we're paying for, we don't need that, so yeah, we need to
Sounds like they bundled something and give you a big package, and it's a big package.
So do you want me to call him and ask him if he will come and explain?
He said he's coming up Friday.
Well, I don't know if he's coming up or just somebody is going to send us a contract up Friday. It says Dave will bring copies on Friday. Yeah, I'm not gonna say that Dave will be
Sure,
sure.
internet worked there pretty good. It always has and through all this.
No, I mean, when the phones were bad for so long, the internet and this, internet, email, fax would all be bad.
But now, the
It
internet,
seems to work fine. I mean, there's times it doesn't,
we were talking about, well,
Let's get to the bottom of this first, because again, this might not be a cost associated, these might be costs to the county associated with Frontier that may, some of which may have nothing to do with, obviously some of it's got to do with the highway department, I don't know.
right.
So let's get to the bottom of that. The problem I have is, okay, so Dave drops off contract at the auditor's office on Friday, then she copies it, sends it to us, or scans it, emails it, whatever. That still doesn't answer anybody's questions.
Right.
We need to have a conversation with David.
Right,
And I
that's
just,
our next meeting.
I
That's what
just
I asked.
assume we have him come to the meeting and talk about it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Well, I'll get that arranged for him to come to the
Yeah.
next. Do you
And
want
the
him
next
to,
meeting's the 16th, is that right?
Right.
do you want him to come to the executive session, or do you want just to put him on the list for the executive
No,
session?
it should be on the
No, it's an open meeting.
I have, just to give you an idea too, I don't have Frontier, I have Blue River. And I have internet, Wi-Fi, and a landline, so to speak, and an 800 number for $60 a month. Okay? And, you know, I want to go ahead, because I had such a great day yesterday, all day. I want to go ahead and rub a little salt in this wound. You voted not to have any bids on the technology. You went ahead and signed this contract without taking bids. And I warned you, and it's come back.
Which contract did you warn us about? You talking
The
about
Cybertech contract.
Okay, that's not this contract. This is a Frontier contract.
Cybertech put this in.
No, that's not even part of Cybertech's duties. They kind of did that on the side just to be helpful, outside the scope of their duties. And again, part of, just since you brought it up, for everybody's edification, the commissioners did a survey, and all the departments, was not this year, but the prior year, was asked for all the people who, you know, used Cybertech and called on them, how's their response time, how's their, you know, whatever criteria we came up with, and there were overwhelmingly favorable responses, with the exception of response time, and that's just because I think, you know, they've got Bill Bradford, who's kind of going back and forth, and we weren't convinced that anybody else could have a better response time, because at least they had a dedicated Washington County person. And at the time that survey was done, I don't know what we did. But, so this contract that's an issue is Frontier, and basically, we didn't hire Cybertech to put in phone lines at the highway department. What they did was, they pointed out to us that our previous IT guy, you know, had started us down a path and changing out phone systems, and then we terminated that agreement, and we had a contract with Matrix which had expired, and that was our telephone consultant, and that was over. And so this is outside the scope of Cybertech's contract, so I just want to correct that. What we signed was an agreement, a continuation of the agreement with Cybertech. That have you guys been pleased with your computers and the
I like
service?
Bill, I mean, usually he's pretty good at responding.
Outside this phone issue?
And I don't blame him even for the phone issue.
just wondering if we could get Blue River to bid out this. Oh, I mean, I used the mic when I had my mortgage business, and it worked fine.
I have Blue River in my business, it looks great.
Get away from over there.
Then we'll pull him in the next meeting. We'll get the bottom of this. I guess my next,
We got a contract with Frontier.
we think we'll do.
It's already due, it was due yesterday, but I called him and told him I had issues and wasn't gonna pay it right now, and that it was a government agency, and we still had to have it okayed and everything, so.
So I guess
Figure
we
we're
Well, until next meeting too.
Yeah, I said, I figured the worst they could do is cut it off, so, I went 2 years
Not
without
missing
one.
much.
If they cut it off, didn't have phones.
I didn't have
Yeah,
it
and
before.
again, that's the problem is we don't have a meeting for 2 weeks. And in the meantime, this thing just becomes, instead of due a day, it's overdue by 2 weeks. And we're getting into our second month. But if that's as soon as we can meet and get him here, then that's fine.
Well,
Okay,
he's aware of the, I mean,
should I
Bill?
look at that other issue?
Bill's where?
Bill's aware and Dave is aware of what this bill is, or do
He
you know?
says, Bill, I have not yet talked to Dave.
Okay.
Hey, if he's coming to my office,
I mean,
maybe you
just-
should give me. send
I'll
me
make you a copy of that.
Fax it opportunity, so I'll have it in the office.
And I told him I'd come Friday,
Oh,
if
okay.
I knew when,
But I don't know,
right, I don't know when he's
Yeah.
gonna be there, so.
But
But
if
you
you,
can always call me.
yeah, if you will fax that off to me, so I can have it.
The other, you got that, okay. The other issue we have, and this has to do with firefighter in Cineplex Rental, and I apologize to Pam and Gerald, because I didn't even check to where we had a contract with the other people, so we're gonna have to table this situation here. Now, as the way I understand it though, all your fire equipment, all your fire extinguishers have been updated, everything's okay.
Everything's up to OSHA code.
All right, then that's, we're okay there, so we can't take.
Do you know,
other
are we under an agreement with them or,
No, with Simplex, no.
so it's just a,
He comes regularly in November every year, which the other company did not. I mean, and nothing to say here or there, but my issue was, you know, these guys are in this equipment all the time, and there was one invoice in 2005 that I found, they never even showed up to check the expenditures. And what had happened is this guy from Simplex shows up and says, you know, you're not up to OSHA codes. And if that was the case, and one of these guys were in this truck, and one of these trucks caught on fire, and then one of these guys got hurt, we'd have a big lawsuit on our hands. So, but that was the only thing, I don't care who we use, that was my only issue, is that they came on a regular basis, and I knew every year, the same time each year, they're here, since 2009.
We're gonna go ahead and table it until next meeting, make sure we get everything all ready. And then we'll let you know on that. Okay? Highway okay? You got a highway report?
Yeah. Did we give it an hour?
Yeah, might as well.
In September, first district, for the pipe in on Honey Run Road. Replacement one, was heat up. The blacktop, Blankenbecker. And the blacktop, Betty Holden.
What's that last one?
Betty Holden,
Andy?
Betty Holden,
That's the name of the road?
that's the name of the road.
Betty?
Betty
Holder?
Holder.
HOLDER?
Yes.
Betty Holder.
Is there a Holder Road or just a, I always thought it
What
was
was that
Holder.
with the honey pipe? Is that, what was
Huh?
that?
Honey Run, they put a pipe across. the
I've
road.
always heard it as
Oh, put a
Holder.
pipe
I
across.
heard a Holder Road, but not Betty Holder, correct?
Is it honey pipe?
Honey Run.
Honey Run.
Honey Run Road.
Good name's Kelly.
Yeah, we could be talking about which skill.
Yeah.
Second district, we had a pipe, road fell in on the Fort Hill, pipe was deteriorated. Got one in there. That was between Orchard Road and,
It's your birthday too.
Yeah.
You're older, yeah. You're getting old.
it's anyways west of Orchard Road, on that stretch of Fort Hill. put a pipe in on Roseville. We, replaced the bridge where the wing wall was falling off. And there was wasn't enough water to go through to, put the bridge back, so we put a pipe. And we did take some of the curve out at the bottom of that hill, widen the road. And that was between Star and White River, where that's done that. We also spot paved on Wallace Road. And we finished up in 10.5 on Campbellsburg Road. Still have a little more we're gonna do on Cobb. Probably sometime this month. Third district, and a pipe issue on Sugar Lane. Bottom was eat out of that one also. And they had another bridge issue on Spangler Hill. Replaced with pipe. Big wall was falling off there, the road was breaking off. They took the core end out and put a pipe in there, replaced the bridge. We met with Jackson County.
I got that.
We all, Ricky came home over the weekend. Heart surgery went really well. He's recuperating, still doing his dialysis.
You get all that, sir?
Mom, I'll be calling.
I can make a copy of that and send it to you too.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate that, Pam.
North Cemetery, you know where North Cemetery is? There at the intersection of Botts Lane and Hare Lane. Mr. Hoger called and said that Duke Energy, I think maybe cut some dead limbs or something off the tree there.
Right there by the road.
And kind of left it, he kind of cleaned it up. They didn't have the machinery to cut down the rest of the trunk.
I see what you're
I
saying.
was wondering if the county could cut that down and take it away. I told him I'd bring it up today and see if he could. He said he would if he had saw big enough, he didn't have a saw big enough, so I'll call and tell him that would take care of it.
Thank you. Randy. Randy called me last night, wanted to know, and I told him to be up here because I still had to discuss it with you guys, and Randy, we're still discussing it, okay? One problem is the fair board needs to be involved in this too. They're the ones that's actually running the fairground, so we need to get with them, the grounds, committee, get their recommendation. They'll come back to us and we'll make final approval, okay? Hopefully that's gonna get done before the next meeting, and if you would, find out when the next fair board meeting is, so we can be sure to get there.
Okay.
Because we need to get all this settled. I understand, let me brief you on, Randy, what we're trying to work out. As you know, your mom, Linda?
Yes.
Did I get that? Can't remember her name. She retired, and so the old trailer is still sitting up there, and we know we want that out of there. What Randy's recommendation is to move his trailer in, okay? And mainly, it's not just that he wants to move it in, you know, just for the groundskeeper, but also for security, and that seemed to be one of the big issues that was really popping up was the security of the fairgrounds. we're still looking into that. There's different options that we can look at as far as putting up gates or, increasing patrols through the city and counties with their help, different things, but we're gonna have to table this final decision until next meeting. We'll get with the fair board, not the fair board, I'll get with the grounds committee, we'll make a decision, get back, and we'll make that call next meeting, okay? All right. All right, thank you, Randy. Okay, we'll start around the room. Back here in the corner, you're okay? Mark?
Numbers are still going the right direction. Just got new numbers for September today, and they're still going the right direction. However, they probably will go up this next set of numbers we get, but still it'll be better than it was. I mean, it'll still be going down from, like, we originally looked at in August.
Mr. Shanes? Little Mark?
Come on.
That's baby Huey.
I'm good.
I'm good.
Mo, Park okay?
Doing good.
We have a question.
We have a question.
Are you to be doing something that out there at the park that you're putting out bids for?
Yes, they put out some bids for they mainly wanted to look at putting some new metal on the pavilion and the restaurant and the garage over by the house. Also, they're kind of looking into seeing about possibly putting meters up on top of the hill where the annual campers are, so that they can get kind of control over how much electricity is being used there. We've went through numerous times and just checking campers and stuff, and we're having a lot of problem with campers going off and leaving their electricity, their air conditions and everything going, and nobody be there for weeks at a time. So that's something that they're looking at.
They're setting up, trying to set up individual billing, correct, Mo?
Yes.
On each of the campsite, which is a good idea.
Okay, that's fine and everything, but I guess when whoever put these bids out or put them in the paper, they had for them to contact my office. People have been calling my office all day yesterday, wanting to know what's at the park. I had no idea what's going on at the park because we never got no information. My only thing is, if you guys are gonna do this, and you're gonna include me in, you're gonna have, well, they have to contact my office. And I assume probably they wanted like the specs or wanted to know what was going on.
Yes.
Please, please, please bring the stuff into me so I won't be done when they call me on the phone and I don't know what's going on.
Okay.
I don't know if they did not know to do that. I mean, if it had in there to contact the auditor's office, then they should have brought stuff up to me, so
I don't know where they got the information to call you, because we plainly put it in the paper where to contact, but I don't know, maybe they're taking it upon themselves to just call.
Maybe, I don't, well, they said they called the park, and the park told them to contact my office. And we didn't know what was going on.
But no, I haven't told them to call you.
Okay.
And the only other one that may have would be the assistant manager, but he's not done that I know of.
Well, I think he's the one that said to call our office, the assistant
The
manager
assistant,
did.
okay.
But I mean, it's okay, I just, if you do put out bids like that or anything, you might let us know, so when they do contact us, then maybe we can tell them who they need to get, or if we have the information in our office, then we can give it to them also. It's no problem, it's just that we didn't know what's going on.
I will do that, sir.
Okay, thanks.
And Dave, I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
No, that's fine.
Oh,
Okay. Phil?
Okay.
John?
Well, you were at our meeting yesterday. We had Lowell DuPois come and he did a presentation on where we stand out at the airport. We also held the public hearing for the various budgets yesterday. We received nothing from the public during the hearing. October 18th will be the adopting of the budget at 6 PM here. Remember anything else, Dave?
That's pretty well it. October 18th will be the final adoption.
6 PM.
They did bring up, and we probably ought to bring that up too, John, here, because it's a commissioners' conference that, Sarah's gonna bring it up, so never mind. Sarah, bring it up.
$145 registration fee.
Shit. Okay. Mr. Keith?
Yes, just kind of on a personal note, there's a road down to my house, and I'm gonna ask you all, it's gravel, it's from Rosebud to, Posey Chapel.
Yeah.
And that thing's gravel, and it's just inundating us with dust and everything else, and do y'all have any ideas if you're ever gonna chip and seal that or anything? Wait.
Well,
I know you're short of money and all that, but,
yeah, we still got some old oil.
I mean, you come out there and you put oil down for about 6 feet, that doesn't do any good, doesn't help us any. And you're saying there's not enough houses down there, well, there is. And there's a lot of people on that road now, more so than there used to be. So I just wondered if you was thinking about that.
Okay, well, I don't know what we did with oil over.
The oil should have been done as stud, what you said.
Oil only helps to, it doesn't stop the dust. When they come flying down there with those big logging trucks, which are logging out of place down there, and those things running up and down there, I mean, it's just dust.
Jim, what's the name of the road? Do you know where it was?
It's Rosebud.
Oh, Rosebud.
Yeah, I know where you're talking at.
Yeah. There's not too many in that area that's not maybe or chipped and sealed yet. I think Reagan's is still gravel over there, but this one here, there's several people that want to go.
Okay. Is that mine or John's? Mine? Would be.
We can put some more oil on now.
I don't think that's gonna.
Yeah, but you want oil in spots. You don't do the whole thing.
They just probably do it around the house.
That's all you do. That don't stop it.
We get condemned no matter which way we go.
Well, I knew that.
Yeah, it don't
I
matter.
knew that.
Gerald, we got enough to oil that whole road?
Just have to check and see how long is it. Right, sure how long it is.
Oh, it's probably less than a half a mile, I would say. It's not even that much.
Can we do it? Okay, we'll go out, we'll do the whole road.
Well, go ahead and oil it, then bring it and chip it while you're down there. Hey, if you're going halfway, might as well go all the way.
Then they're gonna be grinding out oil on reserve.
No, I won't go around.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, they're gonna holler about that every car.
I've got as many calls on getting oil on the vehicles as I have for the dust.
The dust, yeah, yeah.
Won't matter.
I could fight your oil for the dust. I'd appreciate it, anything you do.
Oh, we don't look at it.
Let's go down and look at it if we can, let's go the whole road. If it's just a half mile, I think.
It's not, probably not that much, but I'd appreciate it. I know they would.
Okay. I turned it over to our acting superintendent, so now you know who the,
Well, he's a good man.
okay. All right. Bobby?
Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Oh, I got that.
That's kind of embarrassing.
It is, it looks like your life will
Well,
have something this
If
morning.
we've had as many as I've had, it's no big deal.
We don't even think about them, don't do we? How many years you been married?
42.
43, right?
Remember that, she told me.
Well, she's been married.
Quick question, what was the amount of the frontier bill, 12,000 what?
1,200 years.
$1,275 and 20 cents.
And yet,
Thank you. Rhonda, I'm sorry.
Yes, That's all right. Are you guys gonna talk about what happened at the land use planning last night?
Yeah, I was planning on stuff.
Okay, if you need any questions answered on my part, then please allow me to speak.
Okay? Tom?
Bridge 105, we have, a contract with, you may recall that, J.A. Barker Engineering was the, well, no, they were the design firm, so, they presented me with a contract that I have now reviewed, and I did have one concern that I got in touch with Sarah, and she got in touch with them on, and basically, they had to do with design of specs and bids, handling of bids, and causes the state's involved in this project, they'll be taking care of that. I want to make sure that that didn't fall on the county highway department or county attorney. So basically, here's their contract, and we need to go ahead and get that taken care of. Now, I don't know, I was thinking somehow I had it in mind River Hills, except that it was you, so.
NDOT, came from NDOT, NDOT's the one that's saying it.
So we'll need a motion to,
Yeah, I mean, there's two copies of it.
I'll second.
motion been made and seconded, go ahead and approve this contract. All those in favor, raise your right hand. Approved.
There's two.
This is the one I talked about.
Did we ever get anything worked out as far as the
No,
router in here?
no one's contacted me, nothing's happened.
Okay. I will say that I did make contact with, Bill, or I can't remember if I talked to Bill or David.
You had emailed somebody, I thought you'd emailed Dave,
Well,
because I'd already talked to Bill,
I
poor
spoke
man.
to someone on the, it was Dave, because you'd already talked to Bill.
Yeah, I'd
I
already talked to
spoke to Dave on the phone also,
Okay,
and, I was left with the impression that he'd be getting in touch with you before this meeting, so.
yeah, I only have, like a cell phone and landline and internet.
Well, I don't know the locations, I mean, the only issue.
Sure,
is
it's okay.
I don't think location's an issue.
It's all right, yeah, I don't,
Is it? Can you
it's,
see an issue?
no, I can't see an issue. I just need to, I don't want to interfere in anything that they already have set up. And I don't care if it's in this room, I don't have any problem with that. So I'm basically leaving it up to them to go ahead and contact me, and I'll set it up anytime that they want me to. But there's a separate, I will always have access to it. That's what I want to have. And as far as not just the password into it, but to set it up and all that kind of stuff. So but anyway, whenever they get a hold of me, they get a hold of me. I'm fine.
All right, well, I put it down on my to-do list to follow up with them again.
No worries. I appreciate that.
That's, I think, covers, that covers that.
Hey, John?
Okay, I was gonna report on the planning commission meeting last night. There was a full house. I guess probably 40 people there, I'm gonna guess. There were 2 representatives from Tyson Foods.
A bunch. Everyone had like a
Well, I
Tyson
mean,
label on
actually
it.
from, not the growers.
Corporate,
Yeah.
There were three
I thought there were three corporate guys.
I don't know. I knew Dave from before, Dave Whitaker. I knew him from before.
So they, basically, Dave, is it Whitaker?
Whittington or something like that. It's a, you know, you see it on a card, you don't ever say it. Yeah.
He talked on behalf of all the Tyson growers and the economic impact, positive economic impact that it has on the county. He, you know, urged us to look carefully at these setbacks because of the impact it could have on future operations and, you know, he had concerns, especially about, you know, if we did, you know, 750-foot setback from all the property lines. So I think that the, you know, the Tyson growers all showed up and forced to let us know that they're out there and they're watching things and we want to make sure that we make the right decisions. So, and we really, I mean, this is gonna be a.
What was their positive, what was their positives on economic, I mean, how much money did it bring back?
Yeah, I guess they ran an ad in the paper, I haven't seen it.
It's a nice nice paper. I didn't bring that.
But I've got it here. Washington County producers, this is just Tyson, this isn't Farvest or Purdue. Producers grow an annual pay, gross annual pay. Broiler is 4.1 million.
They pay Washington County producers who raise broilers $4.1 million a year.
And 1.6 million for breeder and pullet. And then they pay Washington County corn farmers feed for chickens. 60% of corn needed for operations comes from Washington County, totaling 12.5 million. 12.5 million. I'm getting bushels, like, is that, no, that's dollars.
$12.5 million a year
yeah.
they pay in corn. They purchase in corn from Washington County.
Washington County, right. There are 25 broiler barns, which is comprised of 87 houses in Washington County. The birds these farms produce can feed over 675,000 people in 1 week. That is over 36 million people in a year's time. Property taxes, broiler producers in Washington County combined pay over $250,000 annually in property taxes. So they have their total economic impact of 18.45 million per year. Is that what they had in the paper?
What was that total, that last figure?
18.45 million per year. Yeah.
It was the same figures.
So, you know, we talked about the reciprocal setbacks, and he did mention that there are instances where when people build too close to an existing operation, that it has effect on the grower, you know, on the production due to, like security lights. Do you remember the other issue?
Yeah, it could be
Noise or security.
lights and noises. I mean, when people think about poultry operations and zoning and setbacks, they always think of we're trying to protect the homeowner. And I think the issue is, are there also protections you need to have for the farmer? Because my understanding from what this committee's been doing and speaking with farmers is there is concern that if someone builds right up on them, if a farmer goes in and is compliant with all setbacks and everything, but then a neighbor encroaches upon that and gets too close to them, a couple things can happen. Number one, the neighbor's activities can stifle their production, you know, shining lights in their barns at night or whatever, you know, noises, sounds, lights. And then also, some people, there's lawsuits over nuisance lawsuits based on the production. It seems to me like I can't imagine that being the case, because if they were there first, you'd think they'd be left out of court if they built on top of them. But apparently, those suits do exist, and with them sitting there, I asked them, are you familiar with any of the suits in together fighting one in Harrison County now, where a farmer was in, a homeowner came in and built closer than their requirements, and they don't have reciprocal setbacks. They built closer, and now the homeowners got the situation tied up in court. I think a couple of members of the Plan Commission are familiar with several lawsuits in other counties they've looked into where, again, they're causing the farmer problems because the farmer was there, was compliant with everything, and then this creep of growth, in home growth, residential growth, has caused problems. And there was a speaker last night, Eric Albertson, who stood up and talked about, don't just talk about poultry, talk about other livestock as well, and talk about crops as well, because right now, you've got people going out and harvesting crops, and sometimes in the middle of the night, on the side of their operations, and then you've got people, I can tell you a story just heard yesterday, people who are trying to sleep, and because they're working all night, because if their crops are right on top of someone's house, you're kind of disturbing the neighbors. And the whole idea is to make sure like things go with like things, I think. And so just, these are all thoughts. I don't think there's any right answer. I think the goal is for everyone to understand that you're just kind of balancing interests and protections. The whole purpose of this is to try to provide protections to people and what they do. And whether you're a homeowner or a farmer, there are protections that could be put in place from either party. It doesn't just flow one direction, and I think that's a misconception that needs to be, the information needs to be put out there.
John, could I ask you where that was advertised at for that meeting? Because I saw nothing about it.
That was just a regular plan commission meeting.
Was it advertised or anything?
Yeah, they're,
If it was in the leader, I didn't see it.
they're published, it's not advertised.
Okay,
Public hearings are advertised.
okay.
Open door law requires notice, which is we notify, we do list at the beginning of every year, here's our regularly scheduled meetings, and I think they're also still on our website, okay? So advertising, no. In the statutory sense of the word advertising, there is no advertising. We don't take out a $14 ad or whatever it is every time there's a public meeting, just like we didn't for today's meeting.
Right.
This was not advertised.
But you have a regular
It's a
scheduled
regularly
meeting.
scheduled meeting.
And then when are there then?
First Monday at 7 o'clock of each
First
month.
Monday every month?
Unless there's a holiday.
And that's at the town hall?
At
Yes.
City Hall.
Okay.
In the council
And,
chamber.
I would recommend,
That's all I wanted to know.
I would really recommend, I know your area, there's a lot of concern, people talk to me about it, and I think you just need to get people show up and give us their perspective on the impact like you have.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to weigh everybody's interests here and come up with something equitable.
Yeah.
Are you the one that spoke last week? Were you here?
Yeah.
Or last meeting?
Yeah, he was
Not
here.
last week. Yeah.
2 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yeah, so that'd be great.
It's personal to me, I didn't speak as a candidate, I spoke as a person, it's a personal thing to me.
John, how's your board made up?
Yeah.
Well, by statute, you have to have county commissioner, county councilman, extension agent, surveyor, and then, am I leaving out 3? You've got, how many
That's right.
appoint, and then you've got citizens.
Citizen members.
There's-
Oh, I got it right here.
yeah.
Who appoints them, John?
The commissioners appoint the citizen members.
How did you determine the citizen members?
Oh, it was hard. The problem was, it's also based on,
You can't have more than, because there's 5 of them, you can't have any more than 3 from any one political party.
that's
We were running ads in the paper trying to get people to volunteer to serve.
yeah.
We had a couple false starts where we had someone serve, but they also held another elected office, in the beginning, so.
I guess what I'm asking, did you try to have, you got 5?
Yeah, but they're alternating, now the terms are, everybody comes up, I think there's somebody that will come up once a year, or, isn't that right?
Yeah, you'll have one next year, coming up in 13.
Yeah. Who's coming up?
Adam DeFore.
Adam DeFore.
What I was gonna ask, though, I'm not when they do or anything else, but did you try to have 2 for, 2 against, and one that was in the middle, or how did you determine that? 5?
The number of members.
You know, the ones that were appointed.
They were the ones that were
They're
interested.
the ones that were interested,
So,
and
They gave us the
So
names.
you may have had 5 that were against, or you may have 5 that were
It
for.
wasn't for or against it, we appointed them, they were the ones that,
For or
For
against
against
what?
what? I'm sorry.
For or against
Yeah.
what?
To have
Combined
somebody,
feeding operations.
no,
Yeah.
that
This whole
wasn't-
program.
that didn't have to do with.
Oh, this was appointed before this even came up.
Yeah, this
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
This was
okay.
way back.
And there's been people added since the
Well, I thought we
original.
were just talking about for this, okay.
So-
This is
Uh,
different.
Close to 2 years.
We had,
Some design had to be replaced.
Leslie Bad had, we replaced
2 or 3.
2 or 3.
You had me confused, Byron, you kept saying 5 for and 5 against and all this other stuff. I thought, where in the heck did all these people come from?
No,
We
he
couldn't
said, that
get
wasn't
nobody.
the point. He said there was 5 citizens appointed, not counting officials. That's what I was
5
asking,
citizens.
was the 5, and how did they determine?
And
it?
I can
thought
tell
we
you
were
one
talking
thing,
about
I can-
confined feeding, and you're just talking about land management.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the plan commission.
And I did purposely put somebody that's in the poultry industry on the planning commission so they could
Oh, yeah.
represent,
Try to pull all
you know,
of
we
it.
could hear their side, so it wasn't all, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And I'll add to that, these people that were appointed as citizen groups, they were out of all the districts. We had to pull them from the
Right.
districts, so.
We changed that.
We didn't
No,
combine it.
no,
Well, that's how we did it.
no.
no.
We didn't. We did in the
In the
beginning.
beginning, but we
And then-
Well, I'm
changed
going
it.
back to the beginning.
Okay, yeah.
Don't
It
don't
became-
keep ahead of me, guys, I'm back
It
to
became
the beginning.
impossible to
He's
meet
giving
all.
us a history lesson.
The man wanted to know the beginning, so we're going back.
Well, for future reference, put my name in the hat for the board.
Okay.
Well, and let me go ahead, because not only did the representative talk about, that there were, lawsuits out there or whatever, because I didn't hear a lot about that. What I heard is that, it can irritate, having a neighbor can irritate the production. And they had a neighbor that had a safety light. And so instead of taking their property rights away from them, they went ahead and worked with them to go ahead and shield the lights so that they were good neighbors. Okay? So that's what I heard last night. And, I don't know what all was going on underneath. I will find out today. Okay?
Underneath what?
Well, I don't know. I had an argument with David Core that morning and stuff like that, and I don't know if there's anything, because I heard one woman talking about me. There's that crazy woman with the camera. And it's like, okay,
We said
go
that
ahead.
before you
I
came.
know, I'm used to it. I'm that green woman. Okay, yeah, she's over
And
there.
right now, we're going ahead with the meeting, so.
No, they haven't finished what they need to say.
Byron, did we get your question answered? Okay, now, go ahead, John.
Go ahead, John.
Well, one thing I'm kind of throwing out there is, and this may be discussed, that we're having the next subcommittee meeting, and we won't have a majority at this next one, of members, but I kind of threw around the idea of having a 200-foot setback from the property line. That the poultry
In
operation
addition
had.
to,
And then the property owner who adjoins the poultry operation, who wants to build there, would have to have a 200-foot setback. That gives you 400 feet from the poultry operation. 200 feet is not a long way for each party to own half the setback. And the other thing is the setback we're starting with is 400 feet, but depending on the points that they score on their application, it can go longer than that. And that's the things we're trying to really hash out before before we can present this to the commissioners. Right? That's it.
And I brought this up the last meeting, I think you all need to stop calling this poultry and start saying it's confined feeding. You know,
It is, that's right.
okay, y'all keep saying poultry, and you need to stop and just say this is a confined feeding operation of any kind.
Yeah, it just gets.
I agree.
Yeah. And that's really, that's the way the wording is confined feeding.
Right, right, but
I'm
what you're doing,
saying
you're
poultry
creating
because-
a problem with the Pacific area, and then you're gonna have 2 or 3 more same problems when they're brought up, because they're gonna say, well, you never did mention us.
Well, the wording is all confined feeding, it doesn't say poultry. Because poultry's at the forefront, it keeps coming to mind. I think there's only 2 or 3 at the most hog operations in Washington County. I think there's only 2, actually. David Hoare and Termale.
And who?
Termale.
What about the Greens?
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know if they help. Maybe 3. Probably 3. And that, I thought 2 or 3.
Go ahead and talk about the formal complaint and the product of that.
Beg your pardon, what?
Formal complaint, the formal complaint, a judgment has been laid against this now. When Max filed the formal complaint last month, you know, I sent it to the email that was given on the website as your contact information. You know, I just went about it like a regular human being would, that didn't know all of you, okay? So I'm sorry if you didn't get the formal complaint.
Yeah, there was a formal complaint filed by Max Green, apparently. I got handed the ruling as I walked in the meeting last night, and I to this day, haven't read it. I kind of skimmed through, and I saw the first or second line in the opening paragraph that said a copy of the formal complaint was sent to the Plan Commission, but no response has been received. So I wanted to kind of look into that. At any rate, I think it was acknowledged. For everyone's edification, I don't know if this is an appropriate topic for this entity, if you care or don't care, but I will explain until you cut me off.
Well, that'll be short, go ahead.
Okay, that there is a plan commission that we've talked about. The plan commission put together a subcommittee to help prepare a draft of an ordinance to present to the plan commission, just to speed things up, to investigate issues on a smaller scale level and speed things up. It hasn't gone very speedily because we keep getting bogged down on detailed writings, and so we might as well be, I don't know, dealing with it as a plan commission. But apparently, we had some members of the plan commission volunteer, and we had requested people outside the plan commission to sit on this subcommittee. And apparently, at one of the subcommittee meetings, we only have one regular non-plan commission member attend, and that's Max Green, Rhonda's husband, from my knowledge. I'm not on that subcommittee. And what happened is at one subcommittee, apparently more than a majority or more of the entire plan commission, 5 or 6 people actually showed up at the subcommittee meeting. And apparently, I don't know if it was pointed out at the beginning of the meeting when that happened or when that person showed up, but a member of the subcommittee filed a complaint with the Indiana Public Access Counselor against the organization that he serves, and sent a copy to an email address from the website, I guess, or had his wife do it, and I haven't seen it. But the fact is, I said a month ago when we had our meeting, if a majority of this body showed up, then I think it's an open door law violation. So last night at the meeting, what we did was we rescinded any and all action taken at that subcommittee meeting as violative of the open door law, so as to foreclose any other issues and proceed and start over. But anyway, I'm going to ask that you guys, if ever anybody notices just anyone, if you serve an entity and are trying to act in the best interest of that entity, if you notice something's going wrong, try to prevent the harm instead of sitting there idly by and letting it go and then filing a formal complaint against it after the fact. And I would ask that you extend that courtesy, and if I were there, I would have pointed it out. So,
And Max did point it out.
at the
So, I mean,
beginning,
yeah, he did at the meeting, from what he said.
suggested that someone leave.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have too many here. And especially when Carrie had sent people away, somebody outside in the public wanted to attend, and she, the
Did
facilitator.
somebody leave the meeting when he said that?
Huh?
Did somebody get up and leave?
No. Oh, no.
All right,
No,
thank you.
no.
Okay, John, you have anything else? John? I got just a couple of things. One, Gerald and I met with, Cheryl Foles. Did I say that right? Okay. What this is Jackson County over in Wheeler Holler, over in Wheeler Holler, on the Muscatatuck River over there. They're getting prepared to build a new bridge. Kavanaugh Bridge, I think, anybody that's been over there knows that bridge is closed. It's been closed for it's been closed long enough to where you don't wanna walk across it because somebody decided they need 2 befores or 4 befores worse than the bridge did. So they took some of them, so you might wanna watch your step and try to go, you might go through. But anyway, they're gonna demolish that. They're not gonna reassemble it like what happened to us. They are gonna demolish it. They're going, downriver toward White River to build the new bridge. The reason why they asked, Gerald and I to show up, because it's gonna come across and they're gonna have to widen the road and raise the road in one area. Now, before everybody panics, this is not gonna be a Sparksville Bridge situation, okay? Because of the land layout, the road comes across and it goes right along the base of the hill. There's not any damming of the river in any area. Matter of fact, that's why I went, wasn't it? Just to make sure that we wasn't gonna get in this fiasco again, but the road will widen on the Washington County side, okay? It'll widen and go back down into. The primary thing that the Washington County will have to do is to agree to their setup of detour, because all that'll be shut down. There won't be no way to, and people's been using this detour all along anyway, because that other bridge has been closed. It will be, a detour will be on, Haley'sburg Road. Get this name, Sarah, be sure to get this one. Goat Hollow Road. And State Road 135, so there'll be the entrances and the ways around.
Holler, Sarah's how it's supposed to be spelled.
Harrisburg Road?
Haley'sburg and Goat Hollow.
I think so.
Okay?
I thought you were joking. Yeah, it's on W. I thought you was joking.
Oh,
That's his way.
Goat Hollow Road.
That's why she.
The people in attendance at that meeting were, of course, Jerry Houndshell, who's the Jackson County Commissioner, and Warren Martin, who's the superintendent, highway supervisor over there. Also, they had a whole list of other people, because there's gonna have to be some power lines moved. Temple and Temple was there because they're gonna do some, water line, work over there, because some of them's gonna have to be moved. None of this will affect us, only we're getting a better road. Does that sound logical? And they'll pay for it. So it's really a good deal for us anyway, so. Gerald, I miss anything on that at all? Okay.
Probably gonna happen in 13, definitely in 14.
Yeah. It's pretty well confirmed, because he said the state had already forked over, $1 million toward that project.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. Okay, what else? I think John covered all of the, commissioner
Was the change in design in that road because it was unique, or this bridge, or is it because, was there a specific reference made to Sparksville Bridge?
No, no.
It's just a unique
They
situation.
just had to make an access to it, and it was a better access from where the Kavanaugh, the old Kavanaugh Bridge was, to go downriver, make a better access to the road. Because it's gotta turn around. I mean, that hill's close to the river, isn't it?
Okay.
It's real close.
I was just curious if they.
They're gonna do it about 500 feet west.
Be about, yeah.
I was just curious if they acknowledged there was an issue with the previous one.
Okay, all right. Sarah?
Pass the payroll claim.
I have this, the Commissioners' Annual Conference is November the 26th to the 29th, and I have to know by October the, is that what I said? Yeah, October the 12th, if any commissioner is interested in going so I can get registered. And I'll need to know before the 12th if you want to go. You just call me or email me or whatever. We have a new revised ordinance for the property transfer that we did the meeting before. There was an error in
It was a change.
A
Not so
change,
much an
not an error, right, it's just a
We
change.
had charged $5 per legal description and deed, and this one specifies it should just be $5 per.
week.
And also, it doesn't become effective immediately, it becomes effective. Basically, it revokes the previous ordinance and
Just have to approve that.
So we need
a
a
motion to adopt this.
Okay, motion been made, we adopt this revised ordinance. Second.
I'll second.
Okay, motion been made, second, all those in favor, raise your right hand.
Okay, it is getting close to highway bids for material. I'd like to know if you're going to do it like you did before, if you're going to have a special meeting, or do you want it in one of the regular meetings? Because I've got to get the stuff together and get sent out, and get the date, I've got to have a date set of when you want to have this, if you want to have it before the end of the year.
Special, I think we'll have a special meeting.
We normally go.
We've had a special meeting in the last 2 years.
Yeah, we've had special meetings.
They go a lot better, I think.
That's what I.
Then we need a date. How long will it take you to get everything ready and get out?
Well, you give me the date, then I have to have it out at least, I give it out to the people at least 2 weeks before your meeting, because usually about this time of the month, I start getting letters and calls from the companies asking when are they going to have their bids for material. And you meet the 3rd and the 17th in December. No, I'm sorry, you meet the 4th and the 18th in December.
That's when we normally have it.
That's your normal, regular meetings.
No, that's when we normally talk to bids in those special meetings in December.
You have had, for the last 2 years, you've had special meetings just for
In
opening
December?
bids, and that's, yeah, in December.
I'll open it about any time, so it's up to you guys, John, you're working.
We're meeting on the fourth,
These are our
Tuesday,
meetings, the
fourth
4th
is
and
Tuesday.
18th.
4th and the 18th.
Yeah, that's our meetings.
I would suggest you have it before the 18th, you know, you could accept bids,
Okay, what's the 4th
and the 18th
of November?
of December.
December.
Sarah recommends we have that special meeting before the 18th, so that'd be before our second
The
meeting.
4th is our commissioners meeting.
Yeah, that's what
Between the 4th and the 18th.
Between the
Oh,
whole
between.
Anytime.
Oh, on the one Wednesday
Wednesday,
between.
good, time for you,
Let me see.
10 o'clock on the fifth?
don't have anything on the fifth.
That'll be the next day. He didn't have anything on the fifth, I suggest.
Well, I have to
December.
see if the room is gonna be
Yeah,
available.
okay, well, we can meet at Tom's office, December the fifth at 10 o'clock.
Well, we're not doing it in my office.
Well, we'll find too many
We'll
people.
find City Hall.
We'll find a place.
Okay.
I'll go over and see if that's okay. Next thing is, yesterday also we had, if you didn't know, we had our tax sale Monday, yesterday. Out of all there was 25 properties that did not sell, so as you know, those 25 properties go to the commissioners. Usually if there's only a few, we kind of just hold on to them and put them back into the process, but since there's 25, I don't know what you want to do. I talked to Joe, he handled our.
Joe Edwards from
Yeah.
SRI.
He handled our tax sale yesterday. I didn't know, I told him I would bring it up at the meeting today to see if you would want him to come back and talk to you guys about the properties, suggestions of what to do, how best to handle it, or what you want to do. If you do, I can get back with Joe and set up a meeting
Can you come to our
for
next
him.
meeting?
I don't
See if
know
he can.
yet, I'll have to ask
See
him
if
to
he
see.
can come.
They're in the process of doing tax sale. I don't know, I have to see if he can come to the next meeting.
If not, he can send some suggestions.
And, but if that's what you want me to do, then I will get back with
He
you and
needs to
see.
talk to us.
Because that's quite a few that is left over this time.
I can't believe it.
Yeah, there's 25 that didn't sell. All right, there's your,
I move to accept the payroll and claims.
Motion been made, we accept the payroll claims. John, you have any questions?
I'll second it.
Motion been made, second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Hold same sign. Motion carried. Any other business come before the board?
I move to adjourn.
Motion made, we
I'll
adjourn.
second.
Motion made, second, all those in favor, raise your right hand. Adjourned.